All right, this is your creation. My name is Starseed Bey. How's everyone doing today? This should be a rather interesting video, and definitely give you a different mindset on things. This is one of my favorite subjects to talk about, is about business and building schools for the future. This is very important because it's the mentality of humanity right now. You know, business is a big part of the structure of humanity, as well as politics and money, right? You know, that's the mentality of the world, and it is the destruction also of the world, with having that kind of mentality. So we really have to look at creating new business structures, and we're going to be talking about that, as well as looking at building schools for the future. I come across some disturbing things, like I always do, about public school. Man, I'm so glad my kids aren't in public school, man. But we really have to change the school atmosphere as well. You know, we have to change it. You know, the government has its own structure. It has built its own structure, you know, and us as individuals, and if we come together, we can build and change the world in a whole new way. You know, we're seeing the building blocks of that right now, but it's going to take a lot of thought, a lot of processes, a lot of coming together with people, sharing ideas and views and things of that nature, to make change happen. So we're going to be talking about this stuff today. It's definitely a lot of the stuff that's been on my mind, and I just got to let it out. So we'll see how this goes. So if this is your first time watching me, I am on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're on YouTube, definitely like, subscribe, share out. I talk about many different things, from spirituality to world events, to also things like this. I'm also on facebook.com/realtalk. Definitely like the page, share it out. If you need to get a hold of me or have any questions, concerns, that's definitely a place to get a hold of me on. And I'm also on patreon.com/Starseed still working on the site, but it is there for you guys if you want to check it out. So we'll go ahead and talk about the business mentality of things, business politics, the frustrations of businesses or major businesses. You know, as a whole, it's all about retail. It's all about selling merchandise to consumers, and from a political standpoint, or stock market standpoint. You know, they look at the money, they look at the bottom line, they look at the dollars. A lot of the mentality of businesses, you know, don't really care much for the interior of things. They just look for the profit of things, you know, what's going to give them the big bucks. And there's a lot of businesses that are falling and failing right now. You know, we're getting to where we have major businesses, and they're just like right in one hand, you know, just major businesses, and that's it. All the other small businesses have been being slowly bought out or thrown away, or there's stuff that the consumers or customers don't need anymore because they're going to other areas, right? They're going to other areas. Online's becoming a huge thing. It's convenient, it's quick and easy. You know, I shop online all the time. If there's stuff I can't find online, then I'll go into a store and see if I find it there. But all of my shopping is done online, which is awesome, right? And that is going to definitely be the future, is going to be businesses online. But doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to have buildings or stores in your towns and cities. No. Eventually, and you can see this happening, eventually all of these stores are going to turn into warehouses. And it'll just be, you know, there'll just be lots and lots of trucks coming in. People unload the trucks, and then you'll have UPS or the mailman or whatever it may be will pick up these boxes and ship them to your house. But you also have the opportunity to go to the warehouses and pick up your items as well. And that's going to be the future of businesses. Whether it is a materialistic thing or whatnot, that's going to be the future of businesses. Now, here's some concerns that I have with the mentality of businesses going into the future. We're seeing a lot of technology now unfolding, and a lot of it has to do with AI systems and even androids, taking over the jobs. And I've been watching commercials on how people are showing their businesses and how we don't need employees anymore, and that's just a simple click off your phone, right? You pay on your phone, and then you go through a checkout that doesn't have anybody on there. Or like with Amazon, you just walk through, you already paid for your stuff, you just go pick it up and walk out. And that's not good. That's not good. And why isn't that good? Is because it's going to lose that interaction with people, right? The interaction with people. A lot of times people just want to get in them people. But it's also great to really meet people. You go into a store and you go to different parts of the store, talk with different people, talk with different employees. You can generate interesting conversations, interests. You can even create friendships and things of that nature within those kind of store environments, and that's something that needs to be maintained. If you get rid of all of the employees and just everything runs on AI, be like, what do you need? Where do you need to go? Or your phone will just show you where you need to go. And then you get out, that's going to be it. But there would be no jobs. If you don't have jobs for people, they won't have money. And if people don't have money, they can't buy things. And if people can't buy things, then that's bad for business. That's bad for businesses. I don't think businesses are even looking into that kind of situation. They're just trying to figure out. Right now, businesses are trying to figure out how to get out stuff, right? Because the mail is huge right now. UPS, FedEx, those are humongous chains that are just constantly getting boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff from retails, and it's building every year. Online sales are building every year. So what's going to happen is they're going to need more people to run their warehouses. I've even looked in Amazon, and they're having a hard time keeping workers because their workers are not meeting the deadlines of getting the boxes packaged and then shipped out. They're not meeting those deadlines, and it more than likely is unrealistic deadlines. We're all humans. I mean, we can't slack. And that's one of the things I talked about last video is, that the mentality of the youth, just, a lot of them just don't care, or they think of themselves, or they don't know a mature or responsible way of handling a job or a business, right? A lot of people just don't care anymore. And that's not the mentality that we should have, and a lot of that goes into what people are being taught in schools. People are not being taught about being mature. People aren't taught about good business decisions or how businesses are run, right? You don't even really learn about business structures until college, which is sad because, part of life is business opportunities, learn about maturity, things of that nature. I never been to public school, but I hung out at the public schools and hung out with people, and the mentality was just more of an ego-driven persona or cliques, or just get your schoolwork done and then, just go out and have fun. It just was very basic stuff. It didn't really get you ready for the world. That's what college was always built upon, is that college was a way of building you for the world. The school was just kind of the first aspect of things, but college is what builds you. They say that if you don't go to college, you can't get a job. You don't go to college, you can't get any kind of good paycheck or something like that, right? But a lot of times people are going to colleges, spend more money than they would on a house, right? And then they're in debt for a long time, and then they're out working in retail or working in fast food. They spend all that money and that's all they're doing. All of that, all those years of being in school got them nothing, because it is an unbalanced system. It's unbalanced. I've been hearing now, that they're actually allowing people to go to college for free now. That's uncanny. But it is out there. You can read up on it. You can go to college for free. Granted, you still have to pay for books and everything, but you don't have to pay for tuition. So that's pretty cool. But that also hurts things as well, because how do those teachers get paid? That I don't know. I don't know if they use grant money or how that works. But again, it's an unbalanced situation, right? It's an unbalanced situation. So basically what I'm going with this for a business is that we need to create new structures. We need to allow the world to recognize that we as humans we have a big responsibility to take care of this planet, right? We've already failed. I've talked about this time and time again. We've already failed as humans. We're here to take care of the lands. We're here to take care of the animals. We're here to plant food, and we're here to work together as packs, as tribes, just like the natives did, right? Look at ancient natives. They were always tribe-oriented. They worked as a family. They worked as a unit. Hey, how's it going, John? They worked as a unit, and after the perceived founding fathers came over here, they destroyed that. They destroyed that. It was all about money. It was all about greed. It was all about taking over the lands. And then after you take over the lands, and then you offer people, oh, hey, if you give me money, back then it was silver and gold, right? Or material that you need to use. Then that was the structure. And I've talked about this before. Archon structure is, if you run the banks, you run the money, you run the military, the biggest army that you can have, and you run the churches. That's the three processes of building an empire. And that's what the Roman empires did, and that's what we're seeing. But we're also seeing that diminish and crumble as well. I mean that's what we're going to be seeing, is we're going to see businesses fall, decline. People aren't going to be buying stuff that they normally buy. I like to collect action figures. When I can. I'm not as big into it like I used to. But the mentality of action figures and toys is really towards big kids like myself. We collect toys because it's for nostalgia reasons, right? It's for nostalgia. Or people who are making toys are those who were kids themselves, and now they're building the best toys that they want to see when they were kids. And that's the mentality. Kids nowadays don't buy toys. They don't. When I'm in stores, kids will check out toys and things of that nature, but kids aren't buying toys anymore. Kids are wanting technology. My kids, they play on their tablets and they just download the free games that are on there. Roblox, is a huge one that my kids like to play. And that's the mentality of the youth right now. So retail is going to have a huge change for a lot of things. Plastic is going to be a thing of the past. Even look at video games. Video games sales have declined for physical releases. Again, I'm a gamer. I don't get to play very much, but I do love to play my games. But it's all about digital games now. Everything is digitalized. Movies are digitalized, and retails are trying to get the consumers or customers onto the digital train or bandwagon, whatever you want to call it. So that's changing as well. We're seeing a structure of business change, and it's going to hurt businesses in a lot of ways. I don't think a lot of people are ready for that. I mean, people can't even are still trying to get on the cell phones. It's a big thing as well. So we really have to look at that as well. And when these businesses are failing and having to restructure themselves, they're going to have to look at a lot of things. They're going to have to quit looking at stock markets and quit looking at the value of businesses. Man, it's a crazy world. A lot of people really focus a lot on the stock market. And why that is, I have no idea. Like I said, it's just all about greed and things of that nature. And money's going to go away too. It's all going to be digital. Is it going to be that crypto stuff? I don't think so. There's definitely some future ideas that I've had as well. Yeah, John's talking about VR. So I guess I'm going to talk about that too. Virtual reality is going to be a huge thing too. I already heard businesses talking about on how they're going to build virtual reality stores. So basically, you're going to go into the virtual reality stores, and that's why I was talking about digital. You're going to go into virtual reality stores. You're going to go and see what you want to buy, and you'll add it to your cart, right? Your virtual reality cart. And then after you're all done, then you use your virtual reality currency, buy your stuff, and then it'll get shipped to your house. But eventually, it's going to be even more into the future because they use the 3D print, and it'll eventually be 4D, 5D, whatever it may be. They're going to use your print, or oh crap, what's it called in Star Trek? I don't remember what it is. But it's basically, it's going to be the print thing where you'll buy stuff and then it's just going to print or materialize in your living room. And then you'll have all the stuff that you just digitally bought. It's bizarre. It's going to be the future of things. But I hope it doesn't get too bad where people just stay stuck in their homes. And we can't get stuck in our homes because, like, how would we make money? How would we be able to spend money? There's a thing that I was hearing is that eventually companies are going to start paying people for their products. So basically, say you want to buy a Dodge truck, right? Be like, hey, I'm interested in a Dodge truck. And then the company will go, okay, well, here, I'll give you my truck, and you need to be promoting this truck. We will pay you money to drive this truck, and you can keep this truck as long as you're promoting it and doing whatever creative ways you can do to promote that truck. And that's how future currency is going to be, is that we're going to be promoting people. And it's quite fascinating. I really like the idea of branding, and that's something that people have been talking about, including myself. I got to start branding myself as well. And we're going to have to start branding ourselves, to get ourselves out there and get ready for the future of branding, because that's going to be the next big thing, is that we're going to have to brand ourselves. So it's quite fascinating, and we're going to have to help each other's businesses out as well. Which, like I said, the Dodge brand will give you a truck, but you have to promote it. So you basically have to make videos and things like that to promote it. You know, give an hour out of your day, 2 hours out of your day, whatever it is, to promote that. And, you know, if you sell based on the viewership or ownership of you promoting that product, that's how much currency that you will receive as well. So it's a great idea. I mean, definitely a good idea. It's already out there. I've already heard people talking about this stuff. So it's nothing new, but it's something could be new to you guys. So it's quite fascinating. It really is. So that's the business politics of things. And we really have to have a mature sense of a business mentality as well. We have to become smarter, and that's what I talked about in the previous video. You know, I mean, that video that I made before this one was designed to have you guys realize just how precious it is, that our children are very precious, and that we have to create that mentality for them, for the future. We have to get them ready. We have to share ideas for getting them ready to go out there, right? You know, I don't want my kids to just have to work in fast food and then go through the exact same stuff that I went through. No, I don't want to see them go through that. I want to see them make change. I want to see them be a part of change and get ready for the future. Because, I mean, there is millions and millions and millions of kids out there, young adults and teenagers out there. And we need them to create a new structure for future generations, and they need to be mature-minded, mature-leveled, you know, and get out of the egotistic viewpoint or the idol worshiping of self as well, and that mentality that our sex or our gender defines us and makes us who we are. I don't even know how that became a thing, like how sexual preference became such a huge thing, right? I mean, back in the 90s, it was never really that way. You know, we would voice our opinions. Excuse me. We'd voice our opinions and things like that. You know, being gay and lesbian back in the day, you know, was a lot harder on people back then. But it was still there as well, you know. But after 2001, 2002, things just changed, and it just has gotten worse and worse and worse. So much that, you know, our kids will watch these people in their 20s and in their 30s talking about their sexual preference, and that you need to tell your parents that you may be a boy but you really want to be a girl. You are a girl but you really want to be a boy. You need to tell your parents that's what I am. You know, that's what these YouTubers and stuff tell their viewers. You know, they brainwash them. You know, thoughts come and go all the time. You know, the public schools, a lot of peer pressure goes in there. You know, a lot of confusion of themselves. You know, people joking around, making fun of people. You know, and a lot of times, you know, kids who go through a lot of rough times, you know, they'll lose a parent, or they won't have parents, or they're being abused, things like that. So they really have to. So kids are really trying to find a identity for themselves, and a path to make them feel like they are wanted, to make them feel like they're special, to make them feel like they are sometimes on top of the world, right? And that's the same way with businesses. It's the same thing, you know, is that they'll lie, cheat, and steal to get to the top, no matter what it is. You know, just like with kids, when they want something, right, you don't give it to them, they start throwing a temper tantrum, right? They start throwing a temper tantrum, trying to get their way. They don't get their way, they continue to do that. One of my kids, or mainly my daughter, I think was probably the more aggressive one. She would throw temper tantrums, and I would record her, and I would say, hey, I'm going to send this to grandma. Hey, I'm going to show mom this. And she'd be like, no, don't do that. She would just quit throwing temper tantrum. I'd be like, no. And then she would throw a temper tantrum again. And then I would just throw a temper tantrum with her. I'd be like, see, this is how you're acting. This is what you're doing. You know, I mean, this ain't going to get you nowhere. You know, and we have to show kids what they're doing. We have to show teenagers what they're doing. We have to sit down and discuss on a mature level of what they're doing, what to prepare for in the world. They do not teach you this in school, and this is so frustrating. This is frustrating for me. My kids are in private school, thank goodness, and they learn. They do. And they're smaller environments, so the teacher is able to talk with them one-on-one. Well, in public school, you can have 50, 100, 200 people in a classroom. There's no way a teacher is going to be able to talk to them all. And a lot of them will slack, a lot of them will cheat, and whatever it may be. You know, it's just a joke. The public schools are a joke. It's a government-run joke. And my kids will never be a part of that. They never will, because it's a mess. I've seen what that mentality has done to the youth. And it is bad. It is bad. I mean, the anxiety issues with kids, teenagers, even people in their 20s is astronomically huge. So many people have anxiety issues because they don't know how to handle the world. They don't know how to handle situations. You know, that's what I talked about in a previous video. You know, if something catastrophic happened, they wouldn't know how to handle it. They would just think it was fake, right? I always tell my kids, I'm like, kids, you do know that stuff you watch on TV is fake. It is an audience. It's not real life. A lot of times my daughter will think what she watches on TV is real. I'm like, no, that is not the mentality of real life. And I really watch what my kids watch. Right now, my daughter is really into Family Matters, which is a great show. Back in the day, you know, it had a lot of good family morals. And it respected the adults' perception of things. Being like, you know, kids had to make choices. They had to make decisions. But it's the adults' responsibility to bring that level of maturity and discipline into their lives. You know, what are kids being taught now? Don't listen to your parents. You know, you have a mind for yourself, which is fine. You know, kids do have a mind for their own. They do need to speak up, definitely. But there has to be a borderline between things. You know, kids are out of control. There's a lot of kids that are out of control, confused, sexually confused. And that's what kind of brought this up too. I read a post on Facebook, you know, and a lot of schools, at least schools that are testing it anyways, are teaching sex ed. Starting with 5 years old. 5 years old, people are learning about sex education. And it goes into homosexuality and toys and transgender and discovering a gender for yourself and things like that. Why in the world are we teaching kids this? Why in the world is this such a huge ordeal? Why are we allowing our kids to think that sexual preference is the majority of our life or lifestyle? Why is that? You know, that's insane to me. But it's so true. So many testimonies of people talk about their sexual preference and they'll cry on videos saying, "Oh yes, I'm gay or I'm lesbian." It's so good to get out there. And then they'll do makeups and transform themselves, and then people will relate with that and things of that nature. But why are they at that mentality? You know, why are they at that level? You know, I've talked to a lot of people who are gays and lesbians. You know, I got some friends that are that way. And that's fine. They can do what they need to do. That's their choice. But what made them that way? You know, I'll always ask the question. I'll say, you know, what distinguished you to have that kind of mentality? To have that level of awareness for yourself, you know? I've talked about this before. There was one guy that's gay, and I asked him, I was like, you know, do you think that you were maybe in a past life you were a woman? and you died tragically or suddenly, and then you went into this male body, but the consciousness or the soul from your previous version stayed with you. So that's why you feel you're a woman, things of that nature. And he's like, well, I have had dreams of being a woman and had kids and things of that nature. And I'm like, okay, well, interesting. So, that brings it to the ideas of past lives and the ideas that the soul continues to go forward into different lifetimes, into different bodies and different essences. It's out there. And I really feel that is the majority of people's situations, because they don't know. They don't have a spiritual foundation, right? A spiritual journey, a spiritual path. It's not talked about at all, period. And the mentality of the world is trying to kind of throw that out the window as well. That spiritual journey is being thrown out the window. And it's not just, from a religious standpoint, right? People in other countries are starting to destroy churches and get rid of Bibles and things of that nature, right? But it's really trying to get rid of that spiritual experience. You don't need a Bible to become spiritual. You don't need to go to church to become spiritual. At the end of the day, the Bible itself is a spiritual guideline of life. It's just a spiritual experience. I mean, I don't know how else to really put it, but it's the spiritual experience or spiritual essence is not out there. You talk about spirituality, people think of New Age, so they go look into that. And then you talk about Christ, they think it's religion, so they go look at that. They don't look in between the lines, the spiritual path, the spiritual experience, how energy works, synergy works, magic, and things of that nature is not taught at all, not in school or anything. So with that, that's where ideas like myself come in, is that, I want to build a school. Before I leave this, I want to have some kind of foundation school structure. We need to build a school, and it has to be a team effort. I definitely have a lot of ideas, but I got to find people who are going to have that mentality to create with me. People that I can trust, people that we can learn from each other and grow and build as well. And it has to start as a school. Like I said, I watch True Seeker, and I really love how he brings guests on there. But to me, it really reminds me of interviews, like interviewing people for a job. Be like, what does this person bring to the table? How are they going to benefit the future? Things like that. Are they really creating something special? Are they stealing other people's ideas? Whatever it is, it just reminds me of people being interviewed for the future. So I really observe that, all the people that True Seeker has for guests, I observe those guests and say, hey, that person is somebody that I would like to have on my team. That person, no, I don't want to have on my team. That person there, yes, I want to have that person on my team. And I think we really have to start looking at that, utilizing the internet for that. Be like, all right, who is going to be good on my team? But it also has to come in both ways, because people don't know about me. People don't know about all of the stuff I got written down and things of that nature, right? Should I write a book? I probably should write a book. I mean, I got tons of material that could make tons and tons of books. But at the end of the day, I just don't have enough time to do that. I don't have enough time to write a book. All I can really do is just make these podcasts, talk with people, and meet the right people, and just throw out these ideas. And the next step for me is I'm just going to have to get out of my comfort zone and just start talking with people, interviewing people, seeing their mentality, seeing where they want to go in life, seeing where they view the future of life itself. Are they wanting to build a school and things of that nature? A lot of people still have the old mentality of things. A lot of people still have that religious mentality. Be like, Christ will save you, and then we go from there. And I'm all about that. My foundation is Christ, but my foundation is also a spiritual journey, a spiritual path. And with that comes what? Making the best version of yourself. We're here to learn how to heal ourselves, and learn how to heal those scars and those wounds that may have happened in the past, so we can be an influence to others and we can help others. That's something that was not taught in school. So I'm going to kind of run these ideas for what I'd like to see in a school of tomorrow. So basically, what we should have taught kids as soon as they were ready to learn is a spiritual beginning, a spiritual existence, allowing them to realize they're not just this physical vessel, right? They're not just this physical vessel. Allow them to learn what energy is, synergy is, things like that. Be creative with it and teach them that. That is part of that development. And that self-awareness as well, the I am. Teach them about the I am, going within self. And that's something that should be taught at kindergarten level and so on and so forth. And then communication, that's a huge one. Just spending a whole class, just having a class dedicated to communication at an early age as well. Having them sit right next to each other, learning how to create a team, learning how to create a tribe at an early age of 5 or 6 years old. Teaching them how to communicate with each other, sharing, things of that nature. That should be all that they should be learning too. Language, a huge thing. Language, a choice of language. There's so many languages that are very diverse in nature, right? So many languages, so we need to allow the kids to learn and develop those kind of languages, learn their own as well as create new ones. We're going to be creating a new language here, and actually it could end up being the language of the past. Definitely Sumerian has popped up as well, and just, from the Sumerian standpoint of things, a lot of languages have been from those kind of foundations. So at the end of the day, we're eventually going to all speak one language, but that's way down the road. We got to make the world a better place and get everybody grounded, tribe oriented, team oriented. That's the first step. The next step will be creating one language again, because it used to be that way and it needs to be that way again. Art is always an important one. Creativity. A lot of what is within ourselves, within our soul or within our mind is art, is creativity. Where are you at with your creative arts? So that will be that mentality of learning on where these kids are in art. Is it actual like art, like writing, or is it technology, whatever it may be? Allowing the children to choose a category at an early age, so then they can develop that right then and there, and that will branch into a whole new curriculum for that child. And that's what we have to do. We have to branch out these children's interests at a very early age, so they can maintain it constantly. I love music at an early age. Never play music, but if it was there, I could have been taught early. I could have been taught early about spirituality, and branch those kids out into those different kind of curriculums, so they can focus their whole life on what they love at an early age and what their passion is at an early age. If it changes, great, but at least they'll have a steady foundation of what they did love. That's a huge part. Of course, numbers and letters are always a big thing. They always got to learn what those are. And then later on in life, they'll learn about math and astrology and the differences. And math needs to be focused more on a scientific perception of things as well, because math is huge. Math is life itself. You can't even create formulas without math. So it's a huge scale. It has to be one thing. Math, science, technology, all that needs to be just one thing, one class. And it's huge. Astrology, again, it will have to be part of that one unit. Let's see, empathic abilities. That is something that we have to all learn at an early age as well, is that we are empathically connected with each other. We can learn from each other. We can help each other out. Learning when someone feels sad or depressed, we can go right to that person and say, hey, I sense you're sad. Let's go figure it out together. Work with one another, creating a tribe, creating a team. Memory and past lives. Again, that's a big one. Soul searching, having a class of soul searching, getting that out there. Are you an old soul? Have you never been here before? What is your purpose here? What kind of entities or what kind of soul matrix are you attached to? This is advanced stuff. This is really advanced stuff, but it's stuff that I want to see happen. A lot of people have this mentality but aren't bringing it out there. But we have to bring that back, because a lot of these memories and past lives, like I said, with video games and comics and TV shows and movies and all that stuff, that those ideas have come from somewhere. They're just, some of these are so real. Just like with X-Men or Final Fantasy characters, these characters are so real and so lifelike. It's like they're real people. It's like they're real people. And with those ideas and things like that, it could be a past life of some kind. These people could have had these kind of past lives. There was an idea that was thrown out there. I don't remember. It might have been on Michael Basham's show. I don't remember. But if you watch the movie Logan, right, part of the X-Men trilogies, watch the movie Logan. It's based in the future. Well, they talk about the comics and how the X-Men were comics and things like that. And Logan was told by X-23 that these comics are actually real and that there is mutants that are hiding out. And Logan just thought it was a little garbage. But later on he found out that all of the things that were talked about in the comic books were actually real. And it was just somebody saw into the future, creating that map for the future. So we have to bring that, we have to bring that mentality of memory, of past lives, and bring that to the table. And that's going to branch into a whole new curriculum, a whole new classroom of people with that mentality as well. There could be new souls that have never had past lives. The soul is a very interesting thing. It's not just an individual soul. And I've talked about this many times, is that I can be one soul, but I'm attached to 1,000 souls, right? But we're attached to one soul matrix. So we're 1,000 souls experiencing different things at the same time. And the soul is a collective database. And when we all leave these bodies, we go back into that soul matrix. And then the soul matrix continues on into another planet or another form of creation. Then those souls are released based upon their level of awareness. And then they go and create and learn and explore again. It's a bizarre stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I really give hits and tips on these things. This is like really, really interesting stuff. I have a lot of interesting ideas and views and things like that. And it's really rare to be able to find somebody that I can talk to on that level. I'm not saying that I'm smarter or I know more. It's just, I don't know everything, but I do know something. I do know some stuff. And it's creating that future. And that's why I create these podcasts, videos, for you guys, to make you guys think, to look outside this matrix structure of old. This is old stuff. I get bored very easily. Because I know where we can be, but we have a long way to go to get to that level, to get to this level here. But it starts with one person. and then it grows as well. Hey, how's it going, Fractal Truth? Let's see, what else we got here? Praying and meditation. That is something that we should have been taught at an early age as well. It's praying, meditation, getting back into that center, that sacred place, getting in tune with that spiritual connection. Again, getting in tune with your soul is something that we're not taught. You know, we're taught that we have to be a Buddhist or things like that. I'm subscribed on YouTube to I forget what his name is, but he's basically kind of like the Buddha guy, and then all these people are sharing testimonies of how great he is, and you go to learn on their techniques, and you get an enlightenment of things, which in all reality, we already have this stuff within. It's just we have to do that soul searching within. All the answers are within. That Torah is within you. Like I've told people, if your Bibles get thrown away, whatever. It doesn't matter, because the Torah is within you. Christ is within you. The I Am is within you. You know, the Most High, or God, or whatever you want to call it, the source, heaven, is within you. And that's what we should have taught our children at a very early age. It's not religious. It's not New Age. It's just a part of our being. Again, it's frustrating. You can tell my frustrations throughout this video, my voice. It's just, there's just so many things that we should be teaching our children, and they're not being taught. I had this conversation with my mom and my sister yesterday, is that we need to rechange everything. And they just have the mentality of, no, we can't, it's too big for us. We can't do that. We just have to accept it for what it is. I say no. No, we don't have to accept it. There's so many people out there in the world. We can make things. We can use the power of the internet. I just got to move on that next step to begin that. So I definitely have a lot of ideas. Let's see what else we got here. Most important thing, taking care of the land and farming. That was our whole job, period, on this planet, was taking care of the land and farming, period. When this materialistic, idol worshiping, face time, selfies thing just destroyed everything. You know, the government destroyed it. You know, that's what I said. You know, the Archon system destroyed it. They don't allow us to be what we're supposed to be. It's a consumer market. It's a business market of money, stock market. They don't care about the land. They don't care about the water. They don't care about anything. And that's the problem. These leaders don't care about that. The natives do, but they don't. You know, they're just trying to destroy. They're trying to get rid of majority of humanity. That's why they poison the food. They're getting rid of the water. They're trying to get people to go into virtual reality, to go to sleep, things of that nature. So we have to be smarter than them. We do. We have to rise up. We have to wise up. We have to be mature into that mentality. We cannot lose that mentality. That mentality is being lost from our youth, and we have to bring it back. We have to. It's if we don't have any level of maturity, or ownership, or what else is there? Morals, things like that. We don't have that. Then people are done. The lawless ones will be the lawless ones. You know, that's where I said in my last two videos is that you have to make a pact with the Most High or Christ, or you have to make a pact with Satan or the devil. You can't be in that limbo land of being lawless. I mean, following Satan or whatever is lawless too. But if you don't follow either, you don't have a foundation, you're lawless, you're rebellious, you have no morals, you have no structure. We don't need the lawless ones. We don't need rebellious. It ruins businesses. It ruins the way of life. And that's going to hurt a lot of people. So you can get out now. You can create a foundation, if create a structure in your life. But if people are sexual, if they're still trying to find their sexual preference and they're trying to just present themselves as themselves without any level of maturity, They're lawless, and they're not going to make it. They won't make it. And that's what we said, only 10% of the world will make it or get it. Well, 90% of the world will just fall away. Will just be the lawless ones. So it's a hard pill to swallow in a lot of ways. I'm really honest about this stuff. And a lot of times this turns people away, because they're like, oh no, you need to just accept me for who I am, which I do. I accept people for who they are. You get to choose who you want to be. You have the will and intent to be what you want to be. If you want to be a failure, you're going to be a failure. If you want to rise up and wise up and become mature in life, you can choose that. If you want to find people who want a pity party in your life problems and situations, you can find people like that as well. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm here to help you guys wise up and rise up and become that best version of you, to help the children of tomorrow, to help my kids' future and your kids' future. John knows what I'm talking about. We have to build a beautiful future for our kids. Right now, the way the world is, it's not good. The world that my kids are going to grow up in is not good. I mean, blatantly honest, it's not good. So I'm here trying to scratch my head, throw out ideas, and try to create something as fast as I can. But it takes time, it takes patience, a lot of meditating, a lot of just a lot of looking into things, sitting in that quiet, sacred place, trying to figure out the next move in this. It's uncanny, man. It really is. And then basically I'll be writing more ideas. This is my business folder here, so I'll be writing more stuff. And the last one is just that spiritual body awareness, learning on how that spiritual body works, and that spiritual experience, that everything is spiritual more than physical. And just distinguishing us as a whole of what we want to create. That learning on what will and intent is, sending that will and intent out there, building it with people, building it with team, building it with tribe, just learning that spiritual essence as a whole, as a whole. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video on that. This definitely, I think I pretty much covered everything here. I could talk briefly about technology and business as well, but and that's what I wrote on there, is that a lot of people are self-ignorant. They're self-ignorant because they think it's all about them. It's all about them. It's all about how much money they're going to make, how much profit they're going to make. If I wear these flashy clothes, I'm going to get recognized. Basically just being an idol. So many people are idol based. They're idol based. This, like I've said, and I'll keep talking about this, is that this body. Hey, how's it going, Jesse? Yeah, that's true too. The mentality of the world right now is a form of child abuse. And that's another frustrating thing, is that when we are teaching our kids about discipline and being respectful, learning about morals and things like that, now it's being called child abuse too. They're twisting it. They're using psychology. Be like, you just need to let your kid do whatever. Be a rebellious, lawless child and let them do whatever they want. Because if you don't, that's child abuse as well. It's psychology. They use psychology. In America, psychology is huge. Narcissist is huge. It's humongous here. It's stupid, crazy, man. It's very, very frustrating. And that's why I always tell you guys, you need to wise up and rise up. Use the power of psychology. Use the power of maturity. Speak your voice and your views. Make videos and testify to people, man, about what you want to see change in life. Because right now in America, there is every little thing is just it's stupid. It's just flat out stupid. There was even a thing, there was some kind of harassment lawsuit that somebody touched their bag, or their bag touched them, and that was a form of abuse. So they went to court about it. So it's insane. It's just stupid crazy, man. That's all it is. It's just we live in such a messed up world, man. But it takes us to create that change. It takes a platform to create that change, and it generates, and we have to create and generate ideas for change. And this is the beginning points. I mean, it's definitely the beginnings, but we have to get together as a whole. So like I said, I got to step out of my comfort zone and just start calling people. Just start calling them. You know, I was raised where, you know, where you don't want to just call somebody because, you know, it can be an inconvenience for them. It may not be. You know, you just give them a call, and if they don't have time to talk, then they'll let you know, right? So I got to step out of my comfort zone, start making some calls, some emails out there, get myself out there, share these ideas, see who's interested in these ideas, and start growing as a whole. You know, things are running at a slow pace, and I want to see it pick up. I want to see it go. But be mature about it as well. I really have to slow myself down and slow my mind down, because there's just so many ideas that I have flowing through my mind. So many creative ideas. But I have to keep a steady foundation and just build on structures that I want to see unfold. Building a school is one, and creating a tribe and helping people learn more about self is key. Finding a foundation in their life, discovering the best version of them is key. Learning about healing and surrendering, learning about that Christ within you, that I am within you, is key right now. We have to learn how to heal and fix ourselves first. Then we got to learn how to heal the land, fix the land, become farmers again, and replenish the land out there as well. So we got a lot of work to do. We really do. But it takes a team and a tribe to generate that, and it's going to take our children to carry that on, to carry it forward. So there's a lot of awesome stuff here, man. So thank you all for joining me in the chat. Appreciate it. I love you all very much. For whoever tunes in on this video, all right, the government was calling me. I get that a lot, man. If I really talk about this kind of stuff, I get some weird phone calls. But anyways, so yeah, so at the end of the day, it's about our children's future, and we have to start getting to that next level. We have to prepare themselves. That's what we're seeing unfold right now. We're seeing changes. We're seeing ideas unfolding right now. Now we have to start putting those and manifesting them into this reality as well. So yeah, so at the end of the day, love yourself, keep shining bright. You are the future and change that this world needs. The children need maturity back. They need morals back. They need a sense of foundation. They need a foundation in school. They need a foundation in life, spiritually, physically. They need those foundations. They need leaders to look up to. They're going to help them go forward in life. We need to look into different business opportunities, because businesses are going to have a huge fall in things. So we're going to have to build new businesses and new structures as well. And be mature about it, right? We can have fun and joke around, which is fine, but this is serious stuff too. We really have to have that kind of mentality. So yeah, I'm just starting to ramble on now. So love yourself, keep shining bright. Our children are the future, and we have to start creating and generating these ideas, coming together. Like I said, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/realtalk. I'm Starseed Bey. That's the best place to get a hold of me right now. My email's on there, whatever it is. Definitely get a hold of me if you have some ideas you want to share. And let's start building this into a whole new world. right? The picture I chose for this video on YouTube was the X-Men. The X-Men, I've always been so fascinated with the X-Men, and how it was built. It dealt with racism and learning about abilities, how to harness the abilities, using it for good or for evil, building it as a school, a structure, a foundation. You know, it's the X-Men is like a huge part of my mentality of things, you know, and it's turning into a reality. It's bizarre. It really is. It really is bizarre. But we're reaching that next level as well. So yeah, so I can just keep talking on and on. So love yourself, keep shining bright, and I'll talk to y'all later.